You're listening to the Limitless Leadership Podcast, the podcast designed to help automotive repair shops learn how to lead, coach, train, and manage their team better by sharing proven techniques and thought-provoking interviews from industry leaders. Are you ready to transform your leadership skills by tapping into unrecognized potential to achieve limitless results? Let's get ready for liftoff. It's time to go from great to greater. Here's today's episode.
All right, leaders, whether you're running a shop, leading a team, or leveling up in your career, you know details matter. And if you're like me, that includes keeping your beard on point. That's why I trust the Bearded Brotherhood. Their beard oils, beard balms, and mustache waxes, among other, are made with all natural ingredients, no junk, no shortcuts, just top-tier quality that keeps my beard looking sharp and feeling great. And let's talk scents. Whether it's their best-selling Woodsman or my personal favorite, Lone Stranger, the Bearded Brotherhood keeps me smelling fresh and my beard stays soft all day. If you take your beard game seriously, this is the stuff that you need. And because you're part of the Limitless Leadership podcast family, I've got a deal for you. Just visit thebeardedbrotherhood.co/lead15 to grab your favorite products and get 15% off in the process. Because a great leader deserves a great beard. Now, back to today's episode. All right, everyone, welcome back to the Limitless Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Parnell. And as always, my request to you is to go subscribe, go like, comment, share, all the things this podcast has to offer, because we're on a mission to reach people and build leaders. As you know, our target audience is the automotive repair industry. If you're listening and you're saying, hey, I'm not in the industry, that's okay. This is a leadership podcast. And so we talk all things leadership, regardless of the industry. But we do have a guest here today who is new to the industry. Our guest today is an analytics expert. He's also a consultant. Our guest today is Mr. Chris Radvansky. Chris, thanks for being here.
Josh, thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate the network, the new people that you meet when you jump into an industry, and you welcome me here with open arms, and just really grateful for that.
Awesome. We're grateful that you're here, Chris. I can assure you that there are going to be plenty more arms who are going to be open and welcoming you to this industry. Having gone through the same transition myself, I can tell you, man, this is an incredible industry to be a part of. And so before we get into what you do and how you do it, go ahead and share with us who you are and where you've been, what you're doing now, all that good stuff.
Perfect. So Chris Radvansky, I've been within the Philadelphia area for my entire life. I'm here outside the Philly suburbs, and I've been within analytics, data, numbers since I can remember. I'm just, my dad was a high school math teacher. I got my CPA when I was with a Big Four accounting firm. I was a vice president of analytics for an HR type of company, overseeing a team of 50 people, just really giving data-driven insights and recommendations to our clients, which included Goldman Sachs, Nike, Cox Automotive from the auto financing side. So my life has been defined by data, and I've had a good amount of success within it. And just about a year and a half ago, I started my own shop. And really out of the gates, I wanted to help small and medium-sized businesses get better control of their data. Most folks that start a business don't love data. They love serving their customers. They love doing things that they're good at. But a big aspect of running a successful business is to be able to understand financially, operationally, how are we doing? And the best way to answer that question and questions about where do we need to go is to have full data visibility on what's happening around you. So with that in mind, I just felt that my skill set, my ability to connect with people, my passion for data, which very few people have, and that's very okay, is something that could differentiate me and also help out folks around me.
I think anytime you find someone who is passionate about anything, you're naturally drawn towards that person and their passion. And so I agree. I mean, I don't know of too many people who are passionate about data, but when you find somebody who's passionate about data, you want to know what is it that they're doing and how they're doing it, because you're bringing another tool to the industry that people need, but they may not know that they need it. And so I'm thinking of a lot of shop owners who were former technicians who said, you know what, I'm going to go do this on my own. They get into starting their own business, but they don't have any leadership skills, which is where I come in. Maybe they don't have any skills as it relates to data and understanding the data. This is where you come in. What are you bringing to the industry that is needed, but maybe not necessarily known that it's needed?
I really think that now technology has advanced in a way, and you see all these different shop software out there that really make it easier for you. But I found that there's niches within niches.
Okay.
You have a fantastic podcast, you're a keynote speaker for the auto repair industry. And people might look at you and say, Jack, why would you put yourself in such a bucket there? It's because there's a hell of a lot of people in that bucket.
Sure.
And there's a lot of value that you can drive within that bucket. And I find the same here for me. Now, my history in serving some of those clients I listed out before was around HR, temporary workforce. It's called the contingent workforce industry. And people are like, well, that's not a thing. That's not real. But there's so many people out here that have specialized in one specific thing that they're damn good at it. You're thinking right now as you're listening to this and you say, well, we got a guy at the shop that's really good at brake jobs for cars that were built in the 90s. So, okay, but he's really damn good at it. And he can get up in front of the crowd and talk about that for 15 minutes without blinking.
Yeah.
So there is a vast need for that type of specialization. And when you can find an expert that is a specialist, you want to really make sure that they're within an arm's length of you. You don't need them to be right next to you every single day, but you should have access to their knowledge, to their content, however you might consume it. And that's really what I see myself as, is someone that says, all right, you got something complex going on here. It's being captured by the system that you're using. That's fantastic. What's the next step? Are you taking the next step? Is that software vendor taking the next step? Within my HR experience, the answer is no. And that's why I'm successful in that space. I'm also, jumping headfirst into this auto space as well, because I see that there's a scratch or an itch that needs to be scratched.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to do that.
Yeah. So let's talk about your product that you're offering. And if you're listening to this episode, I'm going to encourage you to go to the YouTube channel at The Bearded Leader, and you can actually watch a short demo that Chris is going to run through on this episode. But yeah, I like what you shared. You got me thinking about a favorite quote of mine, or one of my favorites, from Bruce Lee, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but he says something along the lines of, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who practiced one kick 10,000 times. And you're talking about niches within niches. And when you find somebody who is just an expert, a true expert on this thing in this industry, you're getting the best of the best. And so I believe that you are the best of the best of what you do and what you have to offer. Go ahead and share with the audience what that is and how it can help their shop.
Before I'm gonna throw another Bruce Lee quote right back at you. You see the one with "Be water, my friends." Have you seen that one?
Yes. Yeah, I have.
Where you say, all right, well, okay, think about water. It can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friends. You can put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put water in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. So it just speaks to the agility and the level of flexibility that you need to have in being successful. And I think of that, I go a step further. You think about being water, think about the things that are happening around you that you don't control. And that's a big part of my philosophy, my philosophical approach, is looking at things, saying, okay, what are things that are within my control? What are the things that are outside of my control? And water doesn't control the temperature around it, right? So if you make water really hot, it disappears or it flies. And it really depends on your perspective. If you make it really cold, it turns into a rock and can't move, or it's the hardest substance imaginable, except for diamonds, of course. Maybe there's other hard things, but nevertheless, you get my point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I love that intentionality, that focus. I heard that you were at the gym this morning getting huge. And what you want to focus on when you're working out is that intentionality. You're not there to get to 12 reps. You're there to improve your musculature to make sure that you live up to 120.
Yeah.
In so doing, you focus on every one of those reps. If it takes you to 12, great. If you max out at 10, that means you maxed out and you did as hard as you could for as long as you could. And that's the premise, the first principles. Why are we doing this thing to begin with? And that's where I'm at, man.
Love that. Yeah. And if you've heard this episode or this podcast before, you've heard me say plenty of times, when the why is clear, the how is easy. But yeah, go ahead and share with the audience, what you do, how you do it, Chris, and go ahead and share your screen too. That way you can jump right into this demo. Again, if you're listening, jump on over to the podcast or to the YouTube channel at The Bearded Leader, and you will be able to see this short demo that Chris runs through.
Yeah, and one thing I haven't mentioned is Road. Road, you see at the top left here, it's the repair order analytics dashboard. So I've talked a lot about analytics and data. Here we're actually putting it into use within the auto repair industry. So repair order, what we're looking at here is really just our overall page. You want to understand for your business at a glance, what's my revenue? How many cars are coming through? How many customers have come through? How's my maybe average invoice amount trending? And you can see that over time here. And then an item, revenue by make, what types of cars are coming through. If you're an exotic shop, you're going to have a very different layout than what we see here with Ford, Chevy, Honda, and Toyota. Then further, you can say, well, wait a second. This is great that in the last 4 years or 3.5 years, I think this is kind of run with some dummy data about a year and a half or half a year ago, 6 months ago. I just want to focus on just 2024. So you have the ability to flexibly extract out the previous couple of years. Now, looking at it on a quarterly basis, I want to get a little bit more detail. You can see all this information down to a quarterly level, now down to a monthly level. And that flexibility is really where insights start to come out, that curiosity about, well, why is that the case? What's happening within my shop here that my average invoice amount has gone from 820 back in February down to 660 here in July. And what a good analytics dashboard is going to do is going to say, listen, here's that front door that is going to tell you, here's some things that you should be curious about. And then we have a whole bunch of other pages here that are going to help to fill that story out. The thing is, Josh, like I mentioned, I love me some data. Most folks don't love it. And for that reason, if we want to empower shop owners to make better decisions for their business, you can't force them into a business intelligence and data focused mindset. What we have done then at Road is we have put everything into natural language questions. So yes, you get started off with, here's my revenue, here's how we're trending over time. The next step is not, okay, let's get into the dirty details. The next step is, what does this mean for me? If I'm looking at these 9 questions here, which of these maybe resonates most with me? Something that I'm curious about. I'd like to have that question answered.
So Chris, let me stop you if you don't mind. So what I'm looking at, and again, I'm really speaking to the audience listening. If you're not watching this, there are 9 questions here that fall under the Key Shop Insights page. And so let's say if I want to ask you to click on one of the questions is, how much GP do I make on tire jobs? Could you click on that one, Chris, and dive into that particular question?
I sure can. So doing that, and I'm going to move our little image here, takes me automatically, instead of having to navigate these pages here on the left, it takes me right away to my profits page. And within this profits page, we're already filtered for any subsystem that contains tires. Okay. Then we can sort this by service revenue. So going back, 3.5, almost 4 years here, I'm able to see, based upon labor and parts, all the different aspects of my tire activity coming through and what my gross profit would be over time here as well. And what this does here, Josh, is says, okay, great. It's taken me to this one specific question that we just clicked on the previous page. But now, again, that level of curiosity, when you switch over, which I did from a corporate hat to an entrepreneur hat, you all of a sudden have a lot more ownership, both financially of the business, as well as just your mentality. I care so much more about what's happening with my day-to-day than I ever have, because I want to make sure that I am successful as a business owner, as a person, as a father, right? And so in that way, I need to make sure I'm really curious about what's happening with my business. in this way, I can switch this over from, instead of tire, I'm going to type in battery. And now I will see, oh, did I not type it in properly? Josh, I'm going to ask you to edit this one out. Oh, son of a gun. Why is that not working? Oh, I did a change recently here, Josh, and renamed some
All
stuff.
good, all good.
Oh,
Hey man, technology, we're figuring it out. Well, but as you're working on that, Chris, something that I'm noticing is how incredibly user friendly this looks. Someone who is trying to explain data to someone who may not really know why we need it or why it's necessary, and then I'm looking at what I see as charts and numbers, but I'm seeing it in a way where it's like it's very user friendly. It's very aesthetically pleasing. I like how it's very granular. You can kind of dig deeper and deeper to understand really what's going on. And even in my own leadership coaching that I do, I work with folks on recognizing the importance of knowing where we're going, which is when we're doing goal setting, but also knowing where we're at. And providing visuals for you to know exactly where you're at, because if you might know where you're going, but if you don't know where you're at, then you're not able to recognize trends. You're not able to recognize which direction to be turning or what levers to pull. And so you might be you might just be moving down this road, but thinking you're going in the direction you need to be going in, all the while you're going, a few degrees to the right, and it's going to throw you off course, but you don't even know it. And this helps you identify trends in your business.
Yeah. And a lot, of course, within the news is happening as it pertains to regulations. And the biggest area being hit is the auto industry. And if you want to have essentially establish a baseline, we want to say, where are we now? And that way we can understand how things will change over the next 6, 3, 9, however many months we might have, with some tariffs coming in, some regulatory changes, but also, of course, some investment within the United States itself. So you want to know, okay, where are we now? What do we need to maybe change? What should we expect in terms of, are folks going to keep their cars longer? And if so, which types of repairs will I do next month that maybe historically I haven't done that much on a car that's 12 or 13 or 15 years old? Mm-hmm. So all these external factors will impact your business. And you need to be agile. You need to be water to be ready to answer those questions. Okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to address that? How are we going to succeed in a very different regulatory environment and economic environment? If you don't have that data and that visibility to help you answer those questions, and you're just going on whim, you're going to have competition that's going to outperform you. And that's really what I want to help folks with here. And Josh, one thing, if I could jump over to our customer focus type page here, but I'm going to do it through Shop Insights.
Okay.
So you can see which of my best customers haven't been in the shop in 6 months. Right. Okay. This is a person-driven business. It's a relationship business.
Yeah.
You see on the Yelp reviews, you see on Facebook, hey, I really like going to this shop because they're honest, they treat me well, and I want to make sure that individual that likes me, that's given me 5 stars, is coming back. So if I just click on this button, it takes me to my customer focus page. It's already filtered for folks that haven't been in 180 days. And it's already also filtered for my top 50. So top 10, 11 through 20, 21 through 50. So this is all pre-built to account for your entire customer base, why they've been in the shop, how many times they've been in the shop, when they've been in the shop last, what they came in for, and it gives all that information real here right at a glance.
So Chris, first I want to say I love what I'm looking at. And I think this is incredibly important that we're able to identify who hasn't been here for the last 6 months. And also if we see that we have customers who we've been serving for years, but they haven't been there in the last 6 months, we want to understand why, and given us an opportunity to reach out to them and find out how they're doing, where they've been, all that good stuff. But I want to ask, so you're able to integrate right now with Shopware, correct?
Right now we got Mitchell 1 in here, but because this is answering so many questions that are going to be pervasive across the different shop platforms, this is something that we're very much looking to grow. I'm a big AI consumer these days to understand how that technology is going to impact us. And the fact of the matter is this right now, what we're looking at here, Josh, is the dumbest and the worst that this tool will be. And so as we're able to get exposed to more of these data sets, to more of the requests from the shop owners to say, oh, this is great, but I wish it had X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
That's where we are fully approaching this with open eyes and open ears to make sure that this is scratching the itch that the folks have out there.
Yeah, love that. I mean, and as you alluded to, you're on the ground floor of this thing, and already I'm seeing some greatness within it. If you're a shop who is using Mitchell 1, I would encourage you to reach out to Chris and at least walk through this, do a demo with Chris, and he can share with you how this could benefit you. And for those of you who are not using Mitchell 1, but using, let's say, a Shopware, a TechMetric, or other shop management systems out there, Chris is going to be ready for you soon. We'll say it like that. But
absolutely,
yeah. Chris, go ahead and keep on going, man. I see you got some other things on the screen now.
Yeah, last item here, because I do want to make sure that we have a good chance to connect, about leadership, because I'm passionate about data, but I'm passionate about leadership as well. But within this item here, what we have the ability to do, we saw the gross profit by tires, and that's kind of aggregated. We saw the customers and saying, okay, here's how many times they've been in, how much revenue they've brought in, when the last time they have come in was. Here, if you want to get down to the task level for each individual customer, you can do that very, very quickly here. So if I type in 11034 for customer, because this is all dummy data, I'm able to say, let's say I'm on the phone with a customer and they're about to come in. I'm going to find out what's the last time they came in, what did they come in for? What car did they bring in with them when they came in? So I can see for 11034, which is our customer ID, I can see all the times that they've come in, which is many, many. We've made, let's say the total revenue is around 80 because they have a number of cars. It's probably some kind of a fleet job. You can see all the numbers in aggregate here. And then you can see, let's say for invoice 116333, I want to find out exactly what we did for them, not just the total revenue from that invoice, but light bulbs, PA safety, grope lamps, detailed vehicle, a wash, all the different aspects that are existing within your software. Those software, they do a great job of being able to transact business financially, legally, compliance, uploading different documents that are required. This is, again, just that next level that they might not have the resources and the bandwidth to address. That's why I've addressed it.
Yeah, love that. And I'm noticing also just the speed in which you can get data, which is incredible. I mean, it's very detailed and driven. Like there's a lot of depth to it that you can very quickly get, which is something I think everyone needs in a day and age when we just don't have quote unquote time anymore.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop here, but listen, Josh, I greatly appreciate you giving me the
of course.
chance to
yeah. That. Yeah, happy to help you with this platform, Chris. And again, if you're listening, go to the YouTube channel at The Bearded Leader, and you can watch that demo that Chris just ran through. So, Chris, you alluded to earlier the fact that you're on the ground floor of this thing with Rode, and introducing this to this is a new industry for you. What was it like when you transitioned out of your corporate gig into entrepreneurship? And what advice would you give to someone who is considering the same?
Yeah, I was with one company for 11 and a half years, right? I was vice president of reporting and analytics, sat at conference tables, gave recommendations to heads of HR and things of that nature. And there's an expectation for a paycheck coming all the time. And now that's not the expectation. And that can terrify you. That can create some strife in your life, to be Dr. Seuss here a little bit. Or that can empower you and say, listen, now is the time that the skills that I've had kind of dormant, that I haven't taken advantage of, are going to come to life. Mm-hmm. Now is the time that I'm going to look at myself in the mirror and say, there ain't nobody coming to save you. This is you. And if you're too weak, then something bad's going to happen. Choose to not be too weak. Choose to take care of your body, take care of your mind, take care of your aptitude, learn new skills, expose yourself to people that you never otherwise would have met. So this has been a fantastic opportunity. And Josh, I'll call it what it is. I was laid off from that company because they made some corporate decisions that still to this day are not putting them in a good position. And therefore, I'm like, man, I'm lucky, because I know folks that are not there anymore, and I got a nice head start, not on them, but just on my business. I'm doing what I can, and I'm doing a great job putting myself out there. So you do need to have a hell of a lot of courage to be an entrepreneur. So if there's folks out there right now, like yourself, like your clients, that have become entrepreneurs, that are struggling in their first 18 months, 3 years, whatever it might be, that's courage in itself. And you should be proud of that. You've learned a hell of a lot. So, I mean, for me, I'm proud of myself. I'm thrilled with what I'm doing. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And you and I've said before, well, maybe you put down that 9 to 5 for the 24/7, right?
Yeah.
And even if you do that, though, you're working towards a passion that you didn't have when you were just getting that biweekly or weekly paycheck, whatever it might be. So that's going to shine through. I believe that things come back around. You put good out there, you do some volunteer work, you show your skills for, $0 and 0 cents, but it comes back around.
Yeah, early on, you're definitely jumping into this 24/7 kind of role. I used to jokingly say that I left a 9 to 5 to work 24/7, and then pretty quickly I realized, wait, I actually am working 24/7. However, I love what I do, and I'm passionate about what I do, and so I never get burnt out. I definitely get tired, but I don't get burnt out. Chris, you went from leading people to really leading yourself. It goes from team leadership and team development now to a lot of self leadership and self development. Can you speak to the transition from a team leadership focused area to now self leadership for you? What has that been like for you?
I've embraced the social network that you need to have out there, and that's helped with networking. And I'm a people person as much as I love data. And, I could have gone for another 45 to 75 minutes there, Josh, just like, oh, yeah, I'm going to make sure I hit on this tab and that tab and that tab. But I also love working with people. I'm coaching both of my daughters in sports. I'm helping out with a local networking group for getting their membership data in order, and they're saying, "Wow, this is saving us hours and hours."
Yep.
And I just love working with people. So you go from a team-based environment to, all right, now I'm totally on an island and I'll never talk to anybody. That will be the case if you don't pop your head out and say, all right, what else can I do? How else can I be valuable? If there's things that I love that is engaging with people, how can I engage with people? There's no restrictions now, right? I'm getting up on stages at HR conferences and talking about artificial intelligence and data analytics and philosophy. I would not have been allowed to do that. I just talked to somebody the other day. They're like, I can't even like a social media post unless I tell corporate about it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I'm like, thank goodness I don't live in that type of environment.
Yeah.
So
there's some freedom.
Yeah, it's been a very intentional outreach to make sure I have those personal connections because that is something I care about. So yeah, I mean that's how I've been able to transition. It's not like I fell off a cliff. It says, okay, how else can I do that?
You went from leading people now primarily to leading yourself. I'll ask you, Chris, what does leadership mean to you?
Leadership means courage in being able to fail in front of people that are looking up to you, right? Within data, you need to be able to say, listen, I don't know it all because I don't. I'm not a top-notch coder here, Josh. I know enough to do a damn good job, but I know I can learn probably 80% more of what's out there. And that's okay. And to be able to tell folks around you, listen, I'm not perfect, but I'm doing my best, and you will watch me do my best. And I hope to watch you do your best on a day in and day out basis. So I think that level of vulnerability, that's kind of been a key word that's been out there for a long time, and authenticity. Those are two things that, they might be a little bit cliche at this point here in, early 2025. But I think they're true. You want to be your authentic self. You want to show folks that you're not perfect because that allows them to not be perfect. If they have to be perfect, then they're going to do the things that they know how to do, and that's it. They're not going to push themselves. So by being vulnerable, I think that enables your team to take some chances.
I believe that we connect through authenticity, humility, and vulnerability. And so it allows you the opportunity to connect with your team on a more real, genuine level. They see that you're okay with not knowing all the things, and you're okay with potentially making mistakes. I'll ask you, how important is it for a leader to embrace their team's willingness to make mistakes? Like, how important is it for me, if I'm leading people, to share with them, look, hey, it's okay if you fail. It's okay if you make mistakes. How important is it for a leader to adopt that mindset?
I think it's great. It's just a matter of what types of mistakes are they making, right? If they're doing things that are lazy, that are just selfish, whatever the terms might be that you're going to
Yeah.
throw out that you don't want people to be, that's not the kind of mistakes that you want. So understand what their intention was in taking the path that they took, and then do an evaluation, understand how it turned out. And listen, we love that you did X, Y, and Z. We know it didn't work out for you, but your head was in the right spot, and we think that next time you can be successful. But you might need to be successful applying X, Y, and Z practices, right?
Yeah.
So having a real logical, honest, forthright conversation with your team is critical. That comes from trust. That comes from building relationships. And yeah, I think that if you start as a leader, okay, you're coming on board. We just hired you. We want you to grow and become successful within this position. That relationship, they're learning from you from day one. And if they're learning from you, they're watching what you're doing. And if they're doing that, then you better be leading by example in a great way, in a way that you want them to emulate.
Love that. Love that, man. Very good. Chris, here's a question for you. And I ask every guest on this podcast the same question. What advice, sorry, no, greatest advice. What is the greatest advice you've ever received from a mentor or a coach?
Um, I had a former boss that said, "Don't tell me no, tell me how."
Okay.
So if there's something out there that's worth doing, then there should be, kind of to your point earlier, I think it might have been from Viktor Frankl, who said, if you have the proper why, you can, go through any how. Or I know I'm butchering that, but yeah. So if you can say, all right, we want to be a problem solver here. We've recognized that this is an initiative that's important. It might be expensive. We might not have the resources, and therefore you can run into a brick wall that says no. But again, it comes back to the intention. Why did we even ask that question? Why have we recognized that this is something that should be within our scope of our services? And if we can't do it in that way, maybe we can do it in a different way. If a door is closed, doesn't mean there's not a side door or a back door or a window. And that's exactly what's kind of taking me here with road,
Yeah.
where I've heard a no. I've heard many no's. I've been ignored. And just as every entrepreneur is many, 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 many times, and that's okay. But what we do is we keep trusting ourselves. And we say, there's probably a way because I recognize that there's value here. And I'm not going to stop until that value is recognized from other folks. So yeah, it's about if there's a strong enough reason to do it, you can find the answer and the path, even when somebody says no.
Love that. Again, if you're listening, and especially if you are a shop that uses Mitchell 1, I'm going to highly encourage you to reach out to Chris. One of the things that we didn't even talk about, Chris, is the investment that someone would make in Road, which is, I think, a steal. I mean, I honestly, I think you need to increase your prices, but can you share with the audience what it would look like to work with you from a financial perspective?
Yeah. So right now we are in launch mode. So we are giving it away for the first month. So if you are out there, you're going to get it for the first 30 days, and you're going to be able to navigate to your heart's content. And you're going to have to say, Chris at theroad.app. Hey, Chris, I wish I had this and I wish I had that. And I'm not going to say it's going to be done overnight, but it's something that, again, we want to grow with our audience in mind. And then once you're at a steady state, it's $39 a month. And it's meant to be flexible to what you need. And when I think about myself in my other career and the rates that I've seen, the bill rates, the hourly rates that folks charge, for 1 hour, it's probably 4 times that, 5 times that.
Yeah.
To have a specialist. So in that way, it makes a hell of a lot of sense to me. But that's where we want to work with a number of shops, of course, to make it worth our while. And the more we work with, the more features they're going to have out there, because folks are going to say, all right, I want this and that and that.
And I think that's important too, because you're talking about the importance of really listening to your customer and understanding the voice of your customer, because your customer is going to be helping you grow and scale this business, but also grow and scale this resource as well. Because to your point earlier, you said this is what you said, the dumbest it's going to look or something, where like it's only going to get better because of the voice of the customer. So if you're listening, again, Chris just shared, for this kind of information, for an hour's worth of someone's time to give you this information, we're looking at 5 times the amount that he's describing. But for a low price of $39, you can have all of this every month. I mean, that, again, I feel like that's a steal. So,
and, people will frequently say, well, is this something that's real time? How frequently is this refreshed? We can work with APIs, application programming interfaces, to get this data automatically. If it's something that you want to run one report and email it over, we've enabled for that. We have all the user onboarding materials as to how do we even jump in. So we're all set, ready to go here, and we're actively, hitting some folks up and see if we can get that traction that we think it deserves.
And it definitely does deserve it. Chris, you mentioned your email earlier. I'll say it again: chris@theroad.app, correct? chris@theroad.app. Okay.
Yeah. So this is, an application, and, domain names being what they are, we went with theroad.app, where we have a video where you can understand, see a bit of a demo, understand the value proposition here, and really get started.
Excellent. So outside of your email, where else can we find you? Are you on social media, Chris? Are you encouraging folks to come find you?
Yeah, Road Repair Order Analytics Dashboard is on Facebook, and I'm getting into some of the auto repair groups that are out there, and I'm getting some feedback from there, which I've already implemented. So, and exciting times. I do have a business partner that I work with that I had mentioned that I know about 20% of all the application and encoding stuff. He's got the other 80% when we need to pull him in. So when it comes to artificial intelligence and saying, all right, what's the next step? How can we be proactive when we recognize that, oil change prices are going up or going down, or, customer volumes or what they are. Somebody's been out of the shop for 5 months and their car's already at 120,000 miles since last time they came in here. We probably need to say, you might need a timing belt. You might need new tires because last time was 4 or 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So all that kind of new advances that are possible. This is a Power BI tool. If you're not familiar, you got Microsoft Excel, you got Microsoft PowerPoint, you got Microsoft Power BI. So this is a Power BI tool that's used by many, many organizations out there. Again, I've seen it in my past. It's probably the best data visualization tool out there. There's Tableau, there's other items as well, but Power BI is where it's at. So looking forward to AI engagement within the tool as well.
Excellent. And so I'm going to put you on the spot, Chris. You're in Philly, not far from Lancaster, which is where the Tools Conference this May is happening. Are you going to be at the Tools Conference?
I will be there. And Josh, you're a family man. I'm a family man. I got 2 daughters. They're 10 and 7. And I look up the site. Is it the Wyndham? I think I don't want to say. If
I believe so. I believe it is. Yep.
And that's right across the street from Dutch Wonderland.
Okay.
So, which is a nice kids amusement park. So I'll probably be bringing the whole family.
Awesome.
And so if you're moderately local and if you got kids and, they can go into Dutch Wonderland right across the street. That's just 2 birds, 1 stone right there.
Absolutely. Make it a vacation out of it. Very good. Well, Chris Radvansky, thank you again for being on the Limitless Leadership podcast, man.
You got it, Josh. Thank you so much. Much success, and looking forward to seeing you in Lancaster.
Awesome. Likewise, my friend. And every episode, we look to transform our leadership skills by tapping into unrecognized potential to achieve limitless results. So thanks again, everyone. Have a great day. Don't forget to smile today. Tell your loved ones how much they mean to you. I'm Josh Parnell, reminding you to keep leading well.